Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Bread for Soul Convos with myself, Sir LSG. And this show, we've been having different kinds of guests, producers, DJs, singers, club owners, and just really um, most players in the music industry to try and share as much knowledge and experiences as possible, specifically putting much focus on onto house music because that's what we do, that's what I believe in. And on today's show, I've been so blessed to be hosting another legendary figure in my eyes, and I'm sure in many people's eyes, Charisma K-Tronic, or people might say Justin Human. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Cool,
How
bro.
yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I can see like
Good.
your thumb a bit appearing a bit on the in front of the camera. I don't know if you can hold on
I
the other
got you.
side. All right, cool.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah. I'm good, bro. I'm good. How
Okay,
you
cool,
well?
cool. hmm
Cool. Well, firstly, I wanna say thank you firstly for joining me. And I wanna just get onto your journey, to try and understand a few things about your journey as an artist, as a DJ, as a producer too. The days of Justin Human were obviously your hip hop days. You were in a hip hop group. How old were you then? And was it like, how did it happen actually? Was it from school thing? If you could explain the story to us.
Okay, so for me, this is what it was. Because I didn't really, have a lot of good clothes and dress that well. Kids would rag on you, and no, they didn't have any pity. So I figured if I use my talents to get them off my back, you know, then I could probably be all right, just for a minute. If
Yeah.
they knew that, what I could sing, I could dance, and I could DJ. So between those three things, I could, keep their focus on that instead of my clothes.
Mm.
So Justin Human came because, I did a little bit of everything. I danced, I sung, I was attempting to make music. I didn't really have a studio back then, and I'm DJ. So I did, basically it all. So that was my name during high school, and I had a little hip hop group. But we was just doing it for the love, and we wasn't trying to get signed or anything.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit older, and I always thought, all right, this name is not going to carry well. I came up in a time when it was, icy or hot or things like that. That was in the name.
Yeah.
So, I started thinking about, my personality, and I tend to draw people in,
Mm.
and from all groups, and I never just stuck to one type of person. I like everybody.
Yeah.
So I figured, oh, that must be, must be some type of charisma, and it was close to my government name. So I said, okay, cool. I'll roll with that. And at 50 and 60, I'll still be want to be called Charisma. So yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
So that's how the name Charisma came about.
Alright.
So all of that led me to wanting to be a DJ and a producer.
Mm.
Because I was always dancing. And the next thing I think, as a dancer, just like a movie actor, they want to be, a producer or a director.
Mm.
So, I'm dancing to to this music, but I want to make some of this music that people are dancing to. I'm a dancer. I know what they like. I got a good sense of music. So, let me try a thing. And, I started my production career at 17 as well.
Yeah. And I do have to ask you though. Then, before we continue, I wanted to ask you if you could kind of tilt your phone towards you because there's a lot of headroom. I know you can't see yourself,
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, much better, much better. Thank you.
Okay. Cool.
Um,
Hmm.
so once you then got into the music thing, and you really were the really early days, like when you want to start creating music, like if it's at 17, I want to understand, who were you listening to back then at that time? Was it always, because I want to talk to you about the duality of hip hop and house that you have, which we'll talk a bit more about later. But which were some of the artists that you were listening to at that time?
Um, wow, a lot of everybody. Like, I came up in a town where you could hear like talking heads next to Africa Bambaataa, and a lot of different genres of music. And I'll say this for Baltimore, we got a healthy dose of everything. So I was listening to Mr. Magic back in the day, Marley Marl, all of these guys, and Tony Humphreys, obviously, and Louis Vega, and anybody who was anybody that I can get my hands on, tape wise
Mm.
or music wise, I was trying to listen to, you know, and like I said, because Baltimore got a lot of different genres of music, we tend to listen to it all. It was just, there wasn't one phase for just one type of music. We listened to it all.
Yeah,
So, you know, that and, coming and I'm sorry, being that, I'm a kid of the 70s, that also means I was there for the birth of hip hop. Even though I wasn't from New York, we got that as well.
mm.
And I was in love with it. And like, it was something new, people expressing how they feel, no cut cards. So, I fell in love with it.
Yeah,
And, a little bit after then, you know, house music, started to be played on the radio. And, I pretty much think like everybody else, a lot of the first, is Mr. Mr. Fingers, Can You Feel It?
yeah,
When I heard that, man. And then, to add, more hype to it, they used to play the mix with Martin Luther King on it. So, woo, wow,
yeah,
that's, my head was blown.
yeah,
And, that music was beautiful. And I had to know what this was. And then, then came the acid thing.
yeah,
And I was into all of that, with Mike Dunn and, all the Chicago cats. Wow. So I was hooked immediately. And those two genres of music, in between, anything else that came out during that time, I was into, but those two stuck. I played a little bit of reggae, and in my DJ career, I've also played drum and bass, and then intelligent stuff.
yeah,
But house and hip hop has always been the mainstay.
yeah,
And I started to fall out of love with hip hop in the sense of where it was going, you know, um, morally. And I don't really put moral on too many genres of music, but it was just going the way that I couldn't play it.
mm.
I wasn't feeling it. So house became really it for me. I
Yeah,
still dabble in hip hop, and I still listen to what's coming out, but house is it for me for the moment.
yeah. And I just want to
Mhm.
get like this kind of view from you with regards to, the movement of hip hop towards, what you would say it wasn't so morally comfortable, if I may put it that way. Like for you, I feel the same.
Mhm.
Like, for a lot of other genres, and, if especially the lyrical content and, what is being sold. But the question I want to get to is really about, um, what do you think, in your view, is are some of the reasons these shifts happen, where you could have house music as, or hip hop even, as this underground authentic, thing, authentic sound, and lyrics that are really uplifting, that are motivating, that are not really putting down anyone, and to at that point to have that kind of sound as the mainstream sound, and you seeing the change that would happen, seeing lesser of that and more of kind of, the more degrading kind of hip hop, if I may put, for lack of a better word. What are some of the
Hmm.
reasons you think those kind of shifts happen within the music industry, especially the mainstream?
I will give you one motivator for a lot of bad stuff: money. Money.
Mm.
It's been said. Even Cardi B recently said she tried to make a positive record and it didn't sell. And to me, that's a cop out because you're doing a disservice to your fans, man. Put out whatever you're putting out, but put some good energy out there too. Actually, I think you should be putting more good energy out there right now because we need it. We're all in the spot right now. So, good energy, and to me, still, that's not something that's being really circulated in the hip hop genre. And that's one thing about house too that drew me. Um, the fact that, it's like a family. And I think hip hop started out that way, but now it's all, I gotta get mine, you gotta get yours. Not the attitude to have, man. So, the answer to that music, there's no reasons. It's a reason: money.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why things change. If you can make money, if Tribe Called Quest could be a number one seller, then they would all be making that type music. You know, if a lot of people were making, positive music and it hit number one and they were getting paid a lot of money for it, that's what we would be getting. So that's what it is, man. Straight and simple.
Yeah.
Money, unfortunately.
And would you say to a certain extent, house music, or rather dance music in general, has became like that too?
Oh yeah. Any genre of music that makes people spend money, that's what's going to happen. The underground thing, people always say, it's best in the underground and it's best kept in the underground. And it's true. It really is true. But unfortunately, for things to blossom, some things got to become commercial so people can hear, so other people can be exposed. But at that exposure, what happens is you can hire people who can try to mimic what we do, and it's some watered down, acceptable version of what we do that they'll label as deep house or some genre that they just caught on to that we already knew about. And even within that, the different genres of house music that never used to exist. It was just house music, just like hip hop. It was. Now we got so many subgenres of it. It's confusing people, and it's just hip hop, man. It's just house. You can call it deep house. You can call it, but it's house. That's it, man.
Man.
Stop trying to divide us.
Yeah, but I think also like the house music culture, like we kind of have allowed the divisions to
Yeah,
happen, um,
we have.
especially with in terms of genres, like all of our stores do it, and maybe it could be like, okay, if I want to find a certain sound, I'll search here. It makes it easier, but with that also comes the real actual divisions, like whether it's in a club scene and you're seeing different scenes. I'll explain to you as well, like in South Africa, the kind of how, as much as house music is so big, there's a lot of different scenes of house music, all still underground, and to a certain extent, some of those get to live in the same space simultaneously, but most of the time, you know that there will be a deep house party, there'd be like a mainstream house, Afro house party, if I may put it like that. Not necessarily being called that, but there is that thing in South Africa too. But I want to just get back to your point about money and ask you about um, success, especially um, financial success. Does it ever get to a point, or within your career, while you're doing the music that you love, and you are being as authentic as you can, does it ever get to a point where you feel like you could be getting more, or you could be getting more if you were doing something else, if you were doing a certain sound? And the reason I'm asking this is that money also can be a motivator for people, or a demotivator, that when people see us doing this kind of music, they don't see the
Hmm.
glamour, they don't see the lights, they don't see the expensive cars. Has that ever
Hmm.
been a thing for you? Did it ever get to you?
Um, okay. I am 50 years old. So yes, I've been depressed behind this because I really care about it. And, things can get to you. There was a point where I wanted to stop doing music because I thought you know, I wasn't, relevant, and I'm seeing, the younger generation come in. So I'm thinking, wow, like you get fooled. That's what I'll say. You sign into these social things like SoundCloud and Instagram, and then you're being put into a competitor mode.
Mm,
You know, you know, this person got 20,000 people liking them. And you start to feel like, wow, I only got 1,000. I only got 50 likes a day. You start to feel inadequate. But you know, I'm a big fan of documentaries, and I remember Bootsy Collins said, "You always have to come back to your one." And my one is this music, man. Like I can cook, I can do other things, but my one is this music. And if I felt like if I stopped doing music, then I lower the bar. If people we like, say, at Jazz and Ocean Lade or Louis Vega, if they stop doing music, that lowers the bar. What comes in and what gets respected as the house sound or the sound.
mm,
So, any of us, we've all had that moment of, man, if I just, made some techno, or if I just, added some trance strings to my thing, or if I just did this, you know, I could be on top. And yeah, you could do that, but the reality of it is, for a lot of us, we just don't have it in us, to do that. Because people who do
mm,
that just do that.
mm,
They it's not a thing they have to think of. It comes out of them commercial,
yeah.
and it is what it is. Us, you know, the moment I start to hear anything, a hi hat that sounds too, or them keys sound a little, I'm pulling it out, you know,
Yeah.
because that's not where I want to go. So,
Mm,
I think we all think that. But if we truly being honest with ourselves, that's not, we couldn't do that because we haven't, So why go there? So my thing is, I've not been overly successful, but I love it, man. And, it's nothing I'd rather do. And I like what I put out, and I'm proud of what I put out. And I stand behind it. There's not a moment where I've made a record and been like, ooh, I shouldn't have did that, or a remix where I remix something and it's like, well, how did I remix that? No, every time I do music and if I do remixes for people, it's a gift because I know that they're handing their baby over to me. So I need to, return it back, you know, with some rims,
yeah.
or with a nice little shine on it, and that's the way I feel about music, man.
Yeah.
It's more than what people give it credit for.
Mm,
You know, it's a motivator and it's a uniter, and that's why it's kind of picking back, but you know, to our first of the conversation, money can't be the motivator of this thing. I understand it, but it can't be because look at what we have now. It's a lot of bad stuff, bad energy floating out there, and this is not the time for it. We need that higher. We need that high energy, man.
mm, mm.
You know,
Man, and
but
I get you so much. Sorry to cut you off.
But that's that. And I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna get off my soapbox.
Okay, but I also wanted to say that I feel like um, what you mentioned with regards to social media, what that has also done is that it has put people in a way that it's almost like the to putting out the music you're putting out to be judged, like you're kind of putting out
Oh yeah.
to be compared to the next thing. And also it's kind of like a space of high competition. It just feels I don't know, it doesn't feel right to me when if I release something and now but I'm paying more focus at who's listening to the next DJ, like look how many people are buying this album or whatever the case may be. And I think it has caused people to stop making music for the sake of making music. It's kind of the thing that you said, think about
Mhm,
it first. It's in the mind first before the actual music even happens. And
mhm,
in that sense, we've lost um, we probably lose out on a lot of authenticity and real stories within the music, and the kind of love and uplifting vibes
mhm.
with the music. But I want to get back, yeah, like to the nicer stuff as well.
Okay.
um
Okay.
you know you mentioned Larry Head, and when I was checking up you, and he's been especially earlier in the day an influencer, one of the biggest influencers for you, but also for many other people. I want to know if you could describe at the times, like the times of Larry Hay, Ten City as well, where house music was really, really booming in the States. How would you describe the nightlife culture?
Well, it was really vibrant, man. We had like quite a few clubs here in Baltimore, and uh, when Ten City stuff, when Larry Heard stuff was being played, it was, the thing here was battling to see who could get the newest first. That was the thing. Who had the new this, or who had the new, acid record, or who had that new warehouse record. That was the thing here. Who had the craziest sounding thing? And for us as patrons, that made it better because it was like we was getting it, man. We was getting all the hot stuff. Like I'm quite sure that went on there as well.
Yeah, yeah,
That's where it was. It was really vibrant, and it was always good as a DJ for me. Because what I would do was after the club would close, I would go to breakfast if I didn't have to go to work and go straight to the record store to buy what I heard or saw was peeping over the DJ just to see.
yeah,
And I'm gonna tell you how bad the game was here. Some of the DJs would do stuff like put, how sometimes on a piece of vinyl you get like a couple labels extra.
yeah,
Yeah, they would put the extra labels over, so you'd be looking at the record and that wouldn't even be the label.
yeah.
So they would fool you that way, or they would totally black out that record, man. So yeah, if that can tell you how the nightlife is, that's just the peak in. That's how serious it was for us,
Yeah,
you know. So yeah, man,
yeah,
very vibrant here, man.
yeah. I mean, before you carry on, because you mentioned work, I thought I should ask you about that. Like, what were you doing when you were working? What are some of the jobs that you've done back in your days?
Let's see. I was a counselor for Goodwill. Uh, I worked at McDonald's, and in Baltimore, we used to have a chain called Chicken George. So I worked there, and then lastly, I worked at Johns Hopkins as a chef, and that's what I pretty much did up until the time I joined Basement Boys.
Oh, yeah.
I, yep, straight from Johns Hopkins to Basement Boys. After Spin and I did the Beautiful remix, it was like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I loved it. I did it for quite a bit, but I was also at the point where I wanted to change too. And I took a step out on faith that joining Basement Boys would be a good thing for me because it could have went so wrong.
Mm.
It could have went so wrong, but it didn't, man. It was the best thing I could have did, because
Yeah.
I learned so much from those guys. I didn't know anything. I was just still, trying to think, just trying to be the best, or that I could be at that point. But they taught me song structure, engineering, and patience. That's another thing. Because I used to sit in with like engineers and all night sometimes and just watch them. And it takes time for that record to sound good.
Mm-hmm.
When you're working, well, back then on the board and even now on the laptop, if you really care about it, it takes time
Mm-hmm.
for you to get it to where it needs to be. So if anything, that whole experience of being a basic voice taught me a lot.
Yeah.
But patience was the best lesson.
Yeah, and how important just like being having mentors like that, because my career as well, like I've been, I met Ralph Gam in 2011. I started producing 2008. Yeah, 2008. Yeah, correct. So, but I met
Mhm.
Ralph in 2011. And meeting him really changed so much about my sound. Like it just enhanced the way I was listening, the way I was approaching my music, as well. So I find that like having that kind of a mentor really had a big impact on my life. But I want to know from you, just like being part of the Basement Boys, especially probably you were a bit younger than the guys. How was the experience
Mhm.
for you, and how important did that mentorship become?
I, I'll I'll explain it like this. Okay, DJ Spin. I used to listen to this guy on the radio, and for years, like he lived across town, but he was on the radio. I was doing what I was doing at the same time, but not nearly getting any recognition, which was good because I was grinding. That's what needed to happen. But I idolized that guy. Same with Teddy Douglas. Like that guy used to kill, man. Like there's been many a nights both of those guys have sent me home, and like I had cramps, body cramps from dancing all night long, or been super inspired to make something. So actually getting into a group with these guys and seeing them every day, and what me and Spin have, and that becoming like a kinship and brotherhood. I mean, like, that's like how you were saying with you and Ralph Gump. You couldn't dream of it happening, and then for it to actually work out.
Yeah,
That's another thing because you can meet your idols and stuff, and it cannot it cannot end well.
yeah.
So for this to actually work out, and for this thing to still be a thing, where we still go on the road together and we still have a kinship, you can't pay for that. So
Mm,
it was a beautiful thing, man. I loved every minute of it, man.
yeah. And
Hmm.
man, and it's such an understated thing, the whole mentorship thing. But like you say, it doesn't always work
Hmm.
out, because I wasn't the first person Ralph had met or released from South Africa. There were some other guys before me, and different factors, whether you're vibing with the person, if the relationship works, if you understand one another. It's kind of like meeting
Hmm.
and working with musicians. You could have
Hmm.
the best musicians in one room, and nothing works out. It does happen like
Hmm.
that. Um, but
Hmm.
I want to get into just to understand, when did you it's quite ironic because I'm going to mention money again, but when did you realize that this could be a career that could possibly sustain you, because it's one thing to have the passion, but actually to see it, okay, I'm getting a few gigs here, I'm getting some work done here, I'm enjoying myself. When did that happen for you, to where you could see actually this could be a career that sustains you for your life?
When we did a remix for, actually, it was our second remix for Atlantic, True Solace. Thank you. Right, that's our second remix of Spinning Charisma. and that was major label, and a check came. Yeah. We get a couple more of these. Yeah, I think I could do this.
Yeah, yeah,
Because if you really good, if you stack it, I could make it. So yeah, that's when I realized, oh yeah, there's something to this.
yeah,
And that wasn't even the DJing aspect of it. That was just you know one remix. So if we do some more, then that means
yeah,
ching ching ching.
yeah,
So that was it. That was the moment we got the check for a major label remix.
yeah.
That was that. And mind you, that wasn't. This was in the decline of it. So it wasn't like it was stupid money,
Mm.
but it was money that I could live off of.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So yeah, man, I was like, yeah, okay. All we got to word. This is how. Okay. Yep. Can
Mm-hmm.
do this.
Yeah,
Can do this. Yep.
man. And I was talking to DJ Spinner back, on the show as well, and I asked him a similar question of, when he was doing remixes for major labels. Louis too, as masters at work. I mean, they were really in it
Mm-hmm.
back in the days, when
Mm-hmm.
major labels were really really into house music.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to understand that, like, what do you think is the change though, like with regards to major labels being supportive of house music, or is it just still about money? Would you say that?
Still,
Yeah.
that's why once it stopped making money, a lot of money because it still makes money.
Mm,
Um, because you start to know people in the inside of the business. When you start seeing A&Rs and then dance departments, like none of these labels have dance departments now.
mm,
They'll just sign a record if it's hot now.
yeah.
That's it. There's no department for that. So once that started happening, it was like, ooh, okay.
Mm,
And it started disappearing from radio as well.
mm,
So once again, the waters are starting to draw in and starting to get dry, and that's when they abandon it. Not thinking, oh, it could come back around, or let's. There's still some things happening here, but they cashed out basically,
mm,
which I think too, was a benefit to us. You know, it was a benefit to us because thank you, let us have it back. That's the way I feel about it. You
yeah.
know, thank you. We can do our own dance departments. Thank you very much. It would be nice to be signed to a major label or whatever the case may be. You can license me, but I got this from now on. It gave us the power back.
Mm, mm,
That's all.
yeah. And I want to talk to you about the scene though, like the scene in the states, especially for house music. Not necessarily looking at radio or major labels, but just the underground scene itself and the nightclubs. Is it because once that popularity was kind of declining, that people kind of stopped being into the music, like general public, yeah, and nightclubs closing down? What are some of those reasons too? Because I'm very interested, because I'm asking this from a point of not really fear, but like concern for our scene in South Africa too, because I believe that we've got a healthy scene. We've got a lot of people into the music, a lot of young people too. You get 18-year-old, 16-year-old boys still really, really into house music. And that's a dope thing to have for the longevity of the music itself. But for the underground scene in the States, what are some of those reasons then that the underground itself could not sustain itself in a way that it was back in the days?
Plethora of things. They started closing down clubs, being real strict on nightlife. So that's one outlet, gone. Uh, they're not playing it on the radio as much. Outlet gone. And then, there was this stigma as well with house. And, when I came into it, like you could actually play hip hop and house in the same setting, right? And then all of a sudden, it became, oh, well, house music is gay music. Okay. All music is gay music then. You know what I mean? That's the way I thought about it.
Yeah.
But okay, you can go ahead with that. Um, So yeah, then they tried to put that stigma on it, and then that became a division of hip hop and house. And then that's, I think that's where it started to fall off between those three things. And like I said, if you don't have any outlets, radio, the clubs to dance to this music to, it's gonna fall off,
Mm.
and it's only gonna be certain people that, the underground that sustains it. And it's not that we haven't, but it's been a battle,
Mm.
and it's still a battle. I don't even think there is an underground now because the other thing that has changed too is the fact that anybody, and I'm saying this very lightly, can be a DJ or a producer, you know. And that's another thing, getting back to, I hate to keep going back to your questions, but, things that make you not want to do music, that critique of, you used to be a dancer and you used to be my best friend, or you used to be that on the dance floor. And now you get to critique what I do, but they get to, or they feel they have the right to, and fair enough, they do. But that just that makes it harder, and it they don't understand. It also makes it harder for us as an artist because now we gotta fight through all you guys to get our music through,
Yeah.
you know, and it's fair enough, but I think honestly 70% of these new ones is not what we need to hear. 30% actually got something we need to hear. And that's my whole point.
Mm.
In life, in music, if you don't have anything different or new to say, then we don't need you in the conversation.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I feel you, man. I feel you so much because also it has gotten to a point where the ones that have been doing it for a long time, it's almost like you can't even critique um,
Mm-hmm.
a poorly mixed, produced song, whatever the case may be, because there's so many of them, and it's almost like
Mm-hmm.
anybody can do anything that they want. There's so much
Mm-hmm.
influx, like I don't know how many songs are released every day, daily, and there's, I mean, like I don't wanna be the one to say people should not do whatever they wanna do. Cool, but
No,
also,
no, I don't think it's that. I want you to do it, but I also think, all right, Snoop Dogg said this. He said, as far as hip hop, and I think it's true for any genre of music right now, or uh, what happened is the fans became producers and DJs, and this is what we have, and not that we don't want you to be creative, but we don't need to all hear it, that's for you at home, and the wanting of the 5 minutes of fame is a bit much, man. Like,
mm,
no, if you don't have anything new or different to say, then you wasting our time, man, and time is precious.
mm,
And I'm glad that you get to have fun and you're being creative, but you got to realize you're also part of the problem.
mm, mm.
You know,
Yeah, and I
you know.
think I think those that are really good, those who are passionate, like really you can hear passion, it comes through, like it's not something that you could even miss, like those who are really good at what they do and those who spend time becoming better at what they do, like it's audible in the sound, and you can hear it, and most of the time the results are there too, like why is so and so not working with me, I mean, like, listen to your
Hmm.
sound, right, anyway,
Hmm.
I want to ask, in 1999 you released the Power, and the Power EP, but like the song itself was a smashing tune and was licensed in South Africa by Vinny Da Vinci on his Deep House Sounds compilation. At the
Hmm.
time, did you get some idea of the emergence of house music in South Africa?
No, I did not know anything was going on, honestly, until the Ben West Beach thing and Sade. That's what when I heard, you know, and then little rumblings of the power, but more so the Ben West speech and the Sade is when like people in South Africa playing your music. I'm like, no, no way, really? The Ben West speech thing? Okay, it's I like it. That's one of my favorites. But really, okay. So randomly shot, dude. Like I'm never one of those guys that make music and think, oh yeah, it's gonna kill people.
Yeah,
It kills me, and I hope it kills everybody else.
yeah,
There's always hope for me. There's never, oh, I rocked it.
yeah,
It's I think I rocked it. I really like this, and here you go. That's always me for music, man.
yeah.
So that's what it was, man. I was generally shocked that you guys were into my music.
Bruh, like the Benwas Beach thing. Ew, my goodness.
Hmm.
I should actually take out the vinyl just to show you. Bruh, that tune, I think, and for such a dark, if I may put it that way, for such a soft song, it's such a powerful song too. Like man, I remember it was 2007. I was in my second year of DJing. I was doing also second year at university, and probably the reason why I failed. But house music really, especially that era of 2005, 2009, in South Africa, we really received, a lot of licensings, from abroad, from Europe, from the States, but really, really dope records, and the hangaround
Hmm.
was, yeah, one of those. Also, the second one, check this out, the original.
Yes.
Bruh, also another not so like loud song, but like really really deep, and people really are into that kind of sound. And sometimes it's not necessarily the sound, it's the song itself, it's the way it comes out, that people relate to it so much. um so how have you ever then gotten a lot of requests for South Africa, especially after the release of those songs?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think after after those things were out, I did the first South African, well, not the first one, maybe the second or third one, South African musical uh, festival with Ralph, and I think Coffee was there as well. And yeah, so that's what started to happen. And I started to come there a bit,
Yeah.
and I did a tour with Vinny and Chris and all of those guys, man. And yeah, yeah, y'all got it. Y'all got it, man.
Yeah.
Because it was like when I came back home, I was like, y'all won't believe, like these guys actually like listen to house music like like not me, but how the public would listen to house music when it was on the radio. You would hear it in people's cars going down the street. Like that was utterly amazing to me because we're from the home of it and we don't have anything like that now. Very rarely do I hear somebody coming down the street playing house.
Yeah. Bruh. And
So yeah, that blew my mind, man.
yeah, but like also, we haven't seen you doing a lot of tours. Like it's just like back in those days. And I remember you did one with Span. Um, I think you were booked by HK in Mafikeng. It was in the Tlamoren Dam, kind of like an open area, kind of a semi-rural town, if I may put it that way. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember those vibes. So as you were coming, like the last time you came to South Africa compared to when you initially like were coming those first 2 or 3 gigs,
Hmm.
would you say there was much comparison or much differences?
The only thing I would say that I noticed was I heard I heard some hip hop music, and I thought I would never hear that there. It was like some trap something, and I heard two or three people playing something. I was like, "Word, okay." So, oh God, that's all I thought. Oh God, it's just like this. It's coming like the states now, but y'all holding it down. So, I'm just praying for y'all at this point.
Now, I think that
I mean, because I mean, I get it. It's young people music, so I get it, man. But from what I'd known of South Africa, I'm just hoping, y'all. I hope you guys maintain. That's all.
yeah, yeah.
That's all. Hmm.
Yeah, I think the underground, itself has been self-maintaining for such a long time in South Africa. Yes,
Hmm.
there was a time where we had a lot of airplay, from radio playing underground jams. A lot. We had
Hmm.
Ralph in 2013 had one of the biggest records with Monique Bingham, and he's always had big records with Monique, but radio would really really play those kind of songs, and it's
Hmm.
still there. It's not as big as it used to be, and the thing about South Africa as well is that um, there could be in the townships, there could be a certain sound that comes in every now and then. There was a time when hip hop in South Africa was really the mainstream thing. Like you would
Hmm.
have initially you would have maybe one hip hop DJ in a party, but it got to a point where you had one house guy and a lot of hip hop. And then it changed back
Hmm.
again to having more house music, more dance music. As also another thing is that there would be um, kind of other sub genres of house, but really locally created. There's a sound called Gom. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's kind of like
Hmm.
high energy drum sound, drum tracks, really, not really musical in terms of chords, in terms of the production, but really just high energy sound,
Hmm.
and but not like close to EDM either. But it was a local sound, and they fused that with local languages. You could say Zulu or Xhosa, Sotho, any kind of local language. But there was that kind of sound. Recently, there's another one that really blew up in the past 2 3 years called Amapiano. If you come
I've
to,
heard about that. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, and in the
Hmm.
township, it's kind of like it's a movement, and once people get into a certain movement, and the townships are really pushing that, it slowly
Hmm.
gets to the mainstream, um,
Hmm.
and the only issue with mainstream media in South Africa that I have is that when something like that happens, when a new sound comes through, and they
Hmm.
are kind of being forced to play the sound, it's almost like they stop playing everything else, and they
Hmm.
focus only on one sound, and then you'd
Hmm.
see the underground kind of house music being played less and less, but it's coming back again. But one thing that
Hmm.
we've always had, though, that has been consistent, and if not has been kind of on always growing, is the underground scene. The nightclubs, the events that guys put up, DJs, becoming promoters, and that has really been growing in SA. I want to know, have you been recently in recent years getting any requests from local promoters in South Africa?
Not yet, not yet.
Yeah.
But like it's one of those things of two. I got work to do. I feel like I need to make some more gems. So it's one of like if I don't get invited places, I don't take it no way. I just think, hey, okay. So I need to grind and do what I do. So eventually there'll be, I'll have something out there. And if they like it, then they'll book me,
Mm.
and it'll come. I never worry about, oh, they're not booking me, because that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not gonna worry about that. I feel like whenever it's time, I'll be there. You know,
yeah,
I'll be there when I'm supposed to be there. I
yeah.
never stress it, man.
Yeah, yeah, man, I can't
Hmm.
wait for that because also what I've seen some videos when you play, especially with Spen too. I don't know what you guys do with the CDJ, man. Like what the hell, like the kind of mix the technique that you have. What do you do actually? I have to know because like for me when I look at it, it looks like
Hmm.
it's a kind of a mixture of hip hop, break beats, and house music, but the energy as well is there. How
Hmm.
would you describe your style, your DJing style specifically?
Okay, for me, this is what it was, right? I believe you should master, all the equipment you have. And back in the day, I only could afford like uh, the Pioneer system that had the two CDs, and you had the drawer system, right? So it had a looping function on it. And I was like, okay, if I'm paying all this money for this thing, I am going to use these hot cues. I'm going to use everything on it like an instrument. I really started looking at it as an instrument. And for about a year, I practiced, hot cueing and saving hot cues and, listening to records and figuring out where I could, put in points that I wanted to, add what I call add drama to. So, after a year about doing that, I started going on a road with it. And, people was just like, "What are you doing?" And same thing I explained it to you. I'm looking at this thing not as just music, just as a music player. I see options. There's a way I can make this more dramatic, or there's a way I can make something happen here that wouldn't normally happen. Like a turntablist because of the hip hop roots in it. And that's where I was with it. Is the only thing I'm doing is just try to be creative in the moment. Like it's never one of those things where I practice it to the point where it's just a routine every time because I think that's whack.
Yeah.
I think whenever I do something, whether it's on point or not, it's all spontaneous and it's organic. So that's more fun. I think for people who come to hear me play, you never know what I'm going to do. And I like that. I always want to have you going, well, what just happened?
Yeah.
Or what mixes this? That's my ish. That's
Yeah.
that's what I like to do. I'm not a hands in the air kind of dude. I want your face to make an ugly face. What is he playing? Oh,
Yeah.
that's me. And that's my mode. So that falls into the whole, CDJ thing. Like I want to have those moments with you that, maybe you'll talk about, but more importantly, you're listening to and you want to go, oh, how did he do that? You know, because that's what made me get into, other DJs and turntablism and hip hop is how did they do that? And sampling, Pete Rock and Dilla, how did they do that? That's the question I want to answer, like, and I want people to feel the same way with me. How did he do that? How did he mix? What was he? I like those questions, you know, when it comes to my music. I want you to question.
Yeah. Bro, yeah, man, I hear you loud and clear, and I really can't wait to see you back here in SA. I don't know when the time is right. I really do
Yes,
wanna want
yes.
people to check that out, and also hopefully for a bit longer than you guys normally come. If you come in for 1 or 2 gigs, it's dope. Sometimes it's the timing thing, sometimes it's the money,
Mhm,
but I
mhm,
think for people to really experience when you're coming from outside as a producer, for you to really
mhm,
experience fully how the scene is, I feel you need to spend a bit more time and travel to other cities. The
mhm,
smaller towns, especially. Like I feel like there's a lot of love in the inland areas, other coastal areas like Durban too. They've got
mhm,
when a party is good, when you've got a good lineup, the house heads do
mhm,
come out, and really it becomes a dope thing. Um,
mhm,
just while talking about cities, I've traveled only twice outside the continent, and I went to Berlin in 2017, and last
mhm,
year I went to Toronto with Ralph, and
mhm,
I'm interested to hear your view with regards to the sounds and feel of different cities, because when I played in both those cities, it did feel quite foreign, compared to
mhm,
how I would normally play in South Africa. Just the energy, and not having not done that more or enough it kind of the inexperience comes through. Like I can
Hmm.
just tell myself, I'm not sure about the people, but like I can feel that, man, feels a bit uncomfortable. How would you describe
Hmm.
sounds of different cities? Maybe if you could say pick up two or three cities that you regularly play at, and the difference in their sounds.
Well, I don't. Here's the thing with me. Like, I tend to not judge, if you will. Like, I'm the type of person that I always go an hour or 2 hours before I go play because I want to go hear, you know, what these other DJs are playing, and also as respect. But like honestly, I could tell you like Toronto for me has always been really good. And the thing too, I have to say, just as as a little advice to you and any other DJ, um, trust your gut. Like, majority of people who go into this thing you know, want a big fan club or whatever they want from this. But the one thing that I've learned is that you can always just play how you want to play and play the way that comes from your heart, and you won't lose, man. Because I think that's what people are looking for anyway. If you anybody can get up there and play all the hits, after a while. We can if you've been to the club and like I said, if you go an hour before, you can kind of get a sense of what you need to do, you know. And you can play what they want, but the thing is, as if you're a great DJ, you give them a little bit of what they want and a lot of what they need. you know
Yeah,
that's your job, to push them, push them in places, not be afraid to lose that floor, because we know how to get them back, we know what to play. Okay, but play your new record or play that thing you heard the other day that made you feel away, because what they're going to do, walk out the floor and get a cigarette? Oh, well, you know what to do to get them back then.
yeah,
But take them chances, man.
yeah, yeah. No, I feel you
So that's
completely.
where I'm at. I don't know if I answered your question,
Yeah,
but like I pretty much don't never know how any place is because I go into the room with a blank slate, and as I'm listening and I'm looking around the room, I'm getting what I need from people,
yeah, yeah,
and as I start, I can see who I'm turned off and who I'm turned on, and then I'm just gonna work my way through. As long
yeah,
as I got 5 or 10 people dancing, I'm good.
yeah,
I know how to work it from there. Just
yeah,
just give me a couple people,
yeah,
and I got you.
yeah, yeah. I,
I'll work it out.
I feel you. I feel you, bro. I want to ask you: have you heard from DJ Spen with regards to his last trip to South Africa? So he was here, I think, last year.
Hmm.
Yeah. Did
uh,
you?
I mean, he briefly talked about it. He said it was good. Like, uh, to be honest, we've never had a bad gig, and I've never had a bad gig in South Africa.
Yeah.
So I knew what it was going to be. It's us or it's him over there.
Yeah.
No brainer. That's a no brainer, dude. That's
Yeah.
like Louis over there.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Yeah.
That's like Martin over there. No brainer, man. So
Yeah.
I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
knew it. Like, he didn't even have to tell me how it was going to go. I know how y'all are,
Yeah.
and I know how he is. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
I'm good.
For sure, bro. For sure.
Hmm.
I had to ask you just lastly about your future projects. I read somewhere, and I know you're crazy in studio. Two things that I heard. It was an interview back in the days that you did, and you were like, you wanna create so much. If you think of something, you just wanna make it because you. So if you don't do it, somebody else might. So that gave me a sense
Hmm.
that this guy really works a lot in studio. And I read something from the label, a label that you usually release a lot of stuff on, R2 Records, and they were
Hmm.
saying that this guy submitted 43 tracks for an album. Like they can't stop you from making songs. So I have to ask you, what are you working on? I bought earlier in the year the release that you did with Nicholas Ryan Grant,
Hmm.
right, with Gypsy
Hmm.
Woman. But
Hmm.
what else are you working on? What are we? What can we
Well,
look forward to?
I got well, Nicholas is somebody that I'm really really proud of, and I've taken him on because I'm the new A&R at R2.
Mm.
So we got a couple more projects with him, Sweet Love remix, and then we're gonna put out his album, well, like a mini EP with like some newer stuff and some old stuff that he put out that just never got the light that it should have. And now that the Gypsy Woman has come out, and we got these other things, I'm really focusing on him as an artist.
Yeah,
So more stuff from Nicholas, um, more stuff with my partner, Tall Black Eye, Terrell.
yeah.
Um, my album, if I can finish it, and some more remixes. I just finished something for Rafael Moraes. He asked me for a remix, and there's a song with capital A on the rhymes, but I just did a dope dub.
Mm.
And there's a group out of London called Two Fox. I just did a remix for them, and anything else that comes my way. You'll see it on
Yeah,
Instagram.
yeah,
That's how I use my Instagram. If you want to know what I'm up to, there you go.
for sure, bro.
And let me mention Bandcamp as well, because that's where I'm focusing a lot of any of my fans. That's where I put out all my newer stuff. If it ain't through R2, it's going to be on Bandcamp.
Yeah, and Bandcamp is so
Hmm.
powerful, man. Like I love
It
just
is, man.
man.
Hmm.
I think more artists should really be on
Hmm.
Bandcamp because the kind of thing that you could set up your own prices and you could
Hmm.
have a database of your
That's
clients,
it.
people who buy the
That's
music.
it.
So
Hmm.
whereas on another store people buy it but you don't really have the connection, you can send people messages, you could do so much. And I
Hmm.
think also most importantly the percentage that Bandcamp takes, is much less from what you would take
Hmm.
an aggregator takes when you're selling through other major stores.
Hmm.
Yeah, anyway, bro,
Hmm.
yeah, sorry, you were saying.
No, I was going, and like that's how I met Seven Davis Jr. And a couple other artists, man, I've met through Bandcamp.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's good for that.
Mm.
And if you just want to reach out to your favorite artists, and myself, I love it when people are able to reach out to me and say, oh yeah, you love that, or that's whack. Anything you got for me, I'm glad that you know, because I'm real. Like I don't want to be one of those producers that you know everything is supposed to be good, and I'm wondering why everybody giving me side face of that track I made. No, let me let me know when I'm whack, man. My exterior is not, can take a hit. I've been in this music for 30 some years now, so yeah, I can take some hits.
Yeah, yeah,
You know.
yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, I have to ask you this one last question. What are you
Okay, okay.
mostly proud of about your career?
The people I met, and yeah, the friends and family I have now.
Mm,
That's it.
yeah.
Because that's what when the music's gone, what you got?
Mm,
I got family and friends in so many places. So if something should go down, and we are some really tough times right now, I know there's some places I could go
yeah.
for some water, or a couch, or a night. You know what I mean, to
Yeah.
get my head together.
Yeah.
So and that's what it. For me, that's always what was more important than the money, or the gigs or anything, or what you could do for me. The fact that I got a friend somewhere I could talk to if something should go down,
Mm,
you know
mm,
or just on some family, this is how it should be
mm.
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's it, man. More than anything, I'm proud of that. The fact that I have families and friends in this thing, that people say in the business you don't have that, or you
Mm,
can't have that.
mm,
And I'm an Aries, so I'm one of them people that, if you tell me I can't, I'm gonna show you I can,
yeah.
or it exists.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, bro. That's so profound, and I want to say thank you so much because thank you firstly for your time and for me to be sitting like this, talking to you, bro. Like I'm one of the people that started doing this, from inspirations from people like you, people like Martin,
Mhm.
Shunlade, and many more, Kerry Chandler, Vega, many more legends who are still doing it. And that's such a another dope thing that we don't state enough. It's not easy to stay so long in this industry. Many people have left, man. Like especially because,
No,
yeah,
yeah, it is, dude. It's fucking hard because, like I said, like if you really, really love it, like I said, I've been depressed about it. And, that's not good for an artist. Not, you know, and to come out of it, what you were saying about the 40 tracks, that's what helped me come back to music, making that album. So I couldn't split up those tracks, because if it wasn't for that sessions, those sessions and that period of time, I'd still be, sitting somewhere, wondering why the world doesn't love me. And, forget the world, you know. There are other people that like what you do. So for those 10 people, still do it,
mm, yo,
So
bro.
that's it, man.
So powerful, man. And I'm glad that you got out of that, because it means that we're going to be
Hmm.
getting more hits
Oh,
from you.
I was going to, man. Like, I like it too much.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If there's a drug, that's it for me. Yeah, I fiend for music, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's it. That's it for me. I'm doing it to death.
Yeah.
Until I die. I'm
Yeah.
in it. Hmm.
Man, and thank you so much because I mean, you doing that with your own life, also inspires other people. Like I said, people like me, and I hope that I will do it long enough to inspire other people too, so that the music can keep on going. It doesn't also necessarily have to be house music or any kind of music. Just the fact that
Hmm.
you pursued something that you have passion for, that you love, and it became something that also you give to other people. Such a dope thing. So bro,
But
thank you
but
so much.
but okay, but let me say to you,
Yes.
man, you are inspiring. Like, you might not see it, or people might not tell you, because people like to hate and stuff. But trust and believe, you are inspiring, and you probably won't hear it, as much as you would like to. But I'll tell you, if you never heard it, you're inspiring, dude.
Thank you, bro.
So
Thank you.
keep doing what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hmm.
And to
Hmm.
everyone who's watching, thank you for watching this. Please tag somebody in the comment section who might learn from the video. Please share the video too, so more people can see it, so this platform can grow as well, and we can share the story of house music a bit more to more people. Otherwise, let's remember to stay creative. Peace.